Hello, and welcome to Temple of the False Bud, where decks are not optimized, but our plays sure as heck are fun. I'm Andy.
I'm Bruce.
And, as you saw last week, it was a long one. Maybe you didn't. That was our season finale, and we talked about Lord of the Rings, and so we're taking 2 weeks to kind of make little bitty vignettes, as Bruce likes to call them.
Hey!
Normally we just like to use this time to kind of mellow out, talk about topics or cards, things that we just it's been on our mind for the magic thing. The thing just being the game.
The shorter chunk.
Yeah. We'll just
talk
like this the whole time.
We'll just talk like this the whole time and then bye.
We talked so much last week that we ran out of time and didn't get to talk about the Commander product. And it led me into thinking, I had this long list of cards that I wanted to talk about from the Commander product, but it kind of narrowed it down to, I am really enjoying how Wizards is dealing with multiplayer mechanics. So we've got, the Monarch, we've got the Initiative. The Initiative is a very interesting example considering the less people you had, the more powerful it got. It really disrupted not Vintage, the other one. Legacy, thank you. It really disrupted Legacy with things like White Plume Adventurer. And but if you look at the Monarch specifically, it's the idea behind it, right, is you're going to get card advantage, and you are focusing attacks on you, so you better have ways to block it.
Right.
And the reason you'd want to give up the Monarchy is so that the attacks go elsewhere. And I feel like over the past few sets worth of Commander products, we've been getting cards that do that type of thing, either with the Monarchy or it really just hinges on the fact that you have more than just two players playing the game.
Right.
And I love it. We've seen this kind of thing. We've got Archivist of Gondor, for example, from the Lord of the Rings set. It's a blue and 2 for a 2/3 human advisor. When your commander deals combat damage to a player, if there's no Monarch, you become the Monarch. I like that because it's not your typical Monarch text. It does the thing that I know even is a lot of house rules of First Blood becomes Monarch type of thing. And then it says at the beginning of the Monarch's end step, that player draws a card. So it's not solely based on you being the Monarch, but it's also I think the easy thing to do is I want to bounce this. I want to make sure it's not on the battlefield when somebody else becomes the Monarch. You're not worried, or you want to make sure that nobody else is getting the benefit. But the way I see it is that if you're making other people the Monarch, if somebody else takes the Monarchy and they're drawing 2 cards a turn now in addition to their first card, it does become a huge target on them if they more than if they were just the Monarch. Granted, that could be seen as all right, kill the Archivist, but I don't know. I like that it's just a little bit different. The dials are just changed a little bit. It's not more powerful. It's not less powerful. It's just different.
Right. Well, it's nice to see a lot more cards looking at the Monarch in different ways. I think Queen Marchese was probably the first one where we saw the Monarch do something a little bit different, just because when it enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch, but at the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent is the Monarch, put a 1/1 black assassin creature token with Death Touch and Haste onto the battlefield. So it gives you some kind of a benefit even if you're not the
Yeah.
Monarch. But it then created a situation where, there are times when maybe it's okay if somebody else is the Monarch. Because, it would be nice. Yes, you're going to give up a card draw, but you get the 1/1 counter with Death Touch and Haste. Usually that's a pretty easy way to get it back if you really want it. But there's all kinds of, like I said, it makes it more than just this person is the Monarch. If I swing at them, I get the Monarch. It makes it evolves the play style a little bit more, and I really like that. And I like a lot of the cards that they used in this Lord of the Rings set to sort of take that to the next level.
And it seems fairly heavy in the Jeskai humans deck. Red, white, blue. I mean, we also have Fealty to the Realm, which is 4 and a blue for an enchantment aura. When it enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. Cool. The Monarch controls enchanted creature. An enchanted creature attacks each combat if able and can't attack you. So it's kind of like a play on like a Salt Suit type of thing, but it's also got the Monarch. And it's nice because this, especially over Archivist of Gondor, is like, it favors you. Like, Archivist of Gondor is a card that is kind of ambivalent to who the Monarch is, but Fealty to the Realm is actually like more balanced in your favor. Like, while Archivist of Gondor, like I said, ambivalent. Like, it doesn't matter who has Archivist. Fealty to the Realm is loyal to you still, like, regardless of who the Monarch is. And I just like the idea that it's still just like kind of going in on like the idea that if you're playing this deck, you don't care necessarily. Like, of course you want the monarchy, like, you want to draw that card, but the fact that the creature can't attack you makes it a little easier. Like, it makes it a little easier to breathe around having stolen a creature.
Right. And what this one does though is there's even more incentive to go after the person who's the monarch.
Yeah.
Because if you can get through and do damage to them, then you become the monarch. So not only are you the monarch, but you also take control of this creature. Now, you don't get control of the creature until after your combat. So you're getting a creature, in theory, that you can use to block. Because it can't attack, it doesn't have haste, and you've just taken it over, and so there's been a change of controller, so you can't use it on your attack step at all. You can't tap it to use any kind of tap ability. If there's an enter the battlefield trigger, well, when it leaves, it's coming back under its owner's control, not under the monarch's control. It's all of these different little tweaks. But do you really want the person who's the monarch to have control of that creature and be able to attack with it? So there's extra incentive to go after them. But it's also a little bit harder to actually win it because you now have something defending you. So I think that's...
Yeah.
I love the feel for this card.
The fealty.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting too because it's extremely slow. So like,
yeah,
say
and 5 mana.
I mean, there's that, but also just like, so say you play it, you become the monarch, you grab somebody's creature, you pass the turn. Now, their options to become the monarch are play a card that says become the monarch or deal you combat damage.
Yeah,
and even if you let it through, now it's their second main phase and they have this new creature. So if they don't have, if it doesn't have haste and they don't have extra like combat steps, then like it's not going to be doing much. Like it is solely going to be sitting there until either somebody takes it away or it gets all the way back around and they can attack.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. You need a lot of people in on the monarch thing for this card to like really shine. but I don't think it's not necessarily too bad, especially with how long our games go.
Yeah.
I have two other ones, I think. Two other ones. I have Crown of Gondor, which is 3 mana, legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each creature you control, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
When a legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, if there is no monarch, you become the monarch. Very cool. It's just like a fun, like, it's a low stakes version of, or it's a low stakes, like, way to get the monarch. It just, you put a legendary out, your commander. And then you become the monarch. Equipped for 4, and this ability costs 3 less to activate if you're the monarch, which also just like it's fun flavorfully, but like mechanically. And I think that it says a lot about just the way they're thinking of certain things like monarchy. I had another one. Where is it? Yomer, King of Rohan, 3 red white for a 2/2 legendary creature, human noble, double strike. When he enters the battlefield he enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each other human control. If you're playing a humans deck, it's going to be at least, I don't know, a 3/3 or 4/4 at least with double strike. When he enters the battlefield, target player becomes the monarch. Not necessarily you, but it could be you. And he deals damage equal to its power to any target. My thing here is that there's not really any reason to not make it you, other than to like force people to look the other way. But you can also make it yourself. I mean, you can make it somebody else, for instance, for Fealty of the Realm, to like get them to get the creature type of thing.
Right.
And then it's got some direct damage stapled onto it, because why not? To really do something with those +1 counters. And I just love that like these cards are just, I mean, for one, they're in the same deck. But I just love that like they're really thinking about how to play this game with 4 people. It's not necessarily like the cutthroat visions of like standard, or even to an extent, why do I keep forgetting this word? Not vintage, the other one, legacy. I did it. But I mean, it is, it goes beyond just like the monarchy. There are next Commander product. I'll talk about it again, because just the way that they're looking at how to interact with more than one opponent is just fantastic. We'll see. I wish I could. What was the last set before this?
Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, before Lord of the Rings. I guess it was
March of the Machines.
Yeah. They're always willing to bring Parlay back, which is cool. The fact that they brought Plane Chase back, I feel like this all just kind of like, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're focusing too much on Commander. But I think that it just means that they are giving a considerable effort in thinking about how to make Commander and 2-player formats distinct. And I think that means a lot, honestly. Because I think that, like, while there can be overlap, I think that it just makes the game a little bit more fun. To have the access to silly mechanics. I mean, for instance, in the March of the Machine Commander decks, we had the mechanic Will of the Planeswalkers, which said, starting with you, each player votes for Planeswalk or Chaos. If Planeswalk gets more votes, Planeswalk. If Chaos gets more votes, or the vote is tied, Chaos ensues. Which is just so, like you get to work together to figure out what is best for the table or what is best for you. And I I mean, that harkens back to, again, the Crown set, the first one, Conspiracy, with just that whole council's dilemma type thing. And the more you can include the table on any action, it really does improve your game quite a bit, because people aren't just sitting there waiting for the person to their right to go, all right, and now it's your turn. Because I feel like I've been through those games where it's just like I space out. And,
you want everybody in the game to engage.
Yeah. I want them to be engaged constantly rather than when they're being attacked or it's their turn.
Right.
But yeah. So that's my shindig this week.
Very nice.
My vignette. And next week it'll be July, and Bruce will be back with his cool card or topic, and we'll be back with that. So I hope everyone's enjoying a breath of fresh air. We'll see you next week. We're Temple of Falsepod. We're at Exit Unoptimized. We're a place sure as heck are fun. I'm Andy.
I'm Bruce.
And let's get out of here. That's me running off screen, but I'm sitting in a chair. Bye! Wait. Before you go, I just wanted to say thank you for listening. You can reach out to us via email at falsepodmtg@gmail.com or on Twitter at falsepodmtg. Bruce is at Manaburned, and I'm at Andy Weekend, though you'll definitely notice I use the podcast Twitter far more often. Now that we've got you here, make sure you subscribe, like, rate us on whatever podcast platform you use. It helps us out. It gets us more reach. Subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. Like a video there. Leave some comments for more casual enjoyment. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back with some more timeless discussions about all things casual. So come hang out, and may your fifth land be the temple. Bye-bye. Should I do my best, Bruce? Bye!